Hey Vera City, welcome back to the channel. It's a girl Vera, and I'm back with another reaction video. Today I'm going to be reacting to Angelina Babicz. This will be my first time reacting to her on this channel, and this is the truth about my new body BBL oral story. Oh my goodness. So this is a true story. She did BBL. Wow. Guys, I can't wait to get into this one, but before we get started, we have some amazing people watching us for the first time. If you are new here, hello, I'm Vera. I do reaction videos with various different artists on here. Is this something that you enjoy? Why not join Vera City? Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. And that's, guys, let's get right into the video. Let's go, guys. BBL.
Well, what's up, you guys? It's your girl Angela and welcome back to my channel. I don't even know where to start with this video. I've had extreme anxiety surrounding this entire situation for going on 2 years now. So I'm just gonna start at the beginning. But first, I just want to say that I'm not looking for anybody's pity. I'm not looking for a lecture. It's too late to tell me that this surgery is dangerous. I know, that's why I'm sitting here today. So we can just skip all of that in the comments. And as a matter of fact, I might turn my comments off. I haven't decided yet if I turn them off a week from now, a month from now, if I turn them off before the video even goes live. I just don't want this to be the kind of video that turns into a debate in the comments. I really just want to bring awareness to this subject. And I didn't even dream in a million years that this could ever happen to me because I've never heard a story like this before. So whether you're curious about plastic surgery or you're considering a BBL or you're just nosy, I hope that you find this video informative, and let's just get right into it. So I got my BBL in June of 2020, which is a little over 2 years ago at this point. It's August 2022. And I loved my new body. I was absolutely obsessed with it. I also followed my pre and post-op instructions to a T. If you're my friend, you know this. I was in my faja for like 6 months, sitting on a booty pillow for just as long. I did my massages, I took my meds, I did everything that needed to be done. I am literally a plastic surgeon's wet dream because I essentially become their poster child after every procedure because I just take care of my results the way they would want to, and not a lot of people do that. So the surgery was difficult, recovery was even more difficult, but I pushed through, and like I said, was absolutely obsessed with my body. I loved my new shape.
Some of the things they never tell you.
I had no issues at first. So June goes by, July goes by, and now it's August, and because my results were so amazing, I inspired some of my friends to get BBLs as well. One of my friends decided to go with a different doctor, but I wound up going with her to Miami to help take care of her because I had already been through everything. I knew what it was like, and who better to take care of you than your best friend who just went through the same exact thing a few months prior. So I was in Miami for 10 days at the end of August, and when I say the end of August, I'm pretty sure it was like August 31st through like September 9th. It was like pretty much September at this point. So a few months had passed since my surgery. Coincidentally, when I was in Miami, I got a call from the facility asking if I could come in to see the doctor. And I just thought that this was very, very weird because I had not had this on the schedule. And to be honest with you, I couldn't even leave my friend for even a few minutes because she was having a really hard time with her recovery. And I wasn't sure if the doctor actually wanted to see me or they just wanted more promo stuff from me. And I definitely didn't have time for promo. So I was like, I feel fine. Like, what's going on? They didn't give me a straight answer, but they said, okay, look, we're gonna prescribe you a month's worth of antibiotics. And this was a major red flag to me. I asked them why. They couldn't give me a straight answer. And then I found out that they had called another one of my friends for the same exact reason, saying that they were putting her on antibiotics as well. Mind you, she got her surgery an entire month after I got mine. So it was just very weird timing of everything. But because I had no symptoms, I felt great, and I didn't want to be on antibiotics for a month because I do not do well with antibiotics. I have gut issues. I also get yeast infections on antibiotics, and flat out, I just don't like taking antibiotics unless I absolutely need them. So I decided to fill the prescription and just not take the medication unless I felt something was going wrong. And my friend decided to do the same exact thing. So we just both decided that we were not gonna take the meds, because who wants to have yeast infections for a month straight for no reason? So still feel great. It is now September, October, I go away for my birthday, everything is all fine, and then November rolls around, and this is where things kind of just hit the fan. So mid-November, I took a trip out to Miami to visit my friend's brother who had just moved there. And when I got off the plane, I felt like my left butt cheek was just so sore. It felt bruised. And I was like, that's really weird. Maybe I sat on it wrong. I was still sitting on my booty pillow at this point. When I tell you I did not play with my post-op, I did not play. I was still sitting on a booty pillow in November when I got my surgery in June. So I was like, damn, maybe I sat on it wrong. Mind you, the plane ride from Jersey to Florida is only like 3 hours. So there's no reason why I should feel that way. I was like, damn, I feel really, really sore. And I mentioned it to my friend, and she was like, that's weird. You know, we'll keep an eye on it, whatever. So the weekend goes by and the pain isn't going away. I'm like, what is going on? I look in the mirror, nothing is there, feel around, don't feel anything. I'm like, like this is just so bizarre, but I really felt like something was wrong. So I get home a few days later, and again, I get off the plane and I'm like, something does not feel right. So the second I walked in the door into my apartment, I stripped down and looked in the mirror, and I had a big red spot in the middle of my left butt cheek. It looked like I had been punched without the bruise. It was just like a red blob. It looked like a red heat spot about this big. And I was like, this is not right. And at this point, I had heard from another one of my friends who had gone to the same doctor that she had an infection, but she got her surgery way after me. So I was like, this is so weird that she has an infection very similar. So I reached out to her and asked her what she was doing. She said that she had to go back to Miami and get cut open and all this stuff. I'm not even gonna tell her story because that's her story to tell. But for me, it just completely freaked me out, and I knew I had to reach out to my doctor ASAP. So that's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, and this is where the timing of everything comes into play, because with my luck, they were closed for Thanksgiving. So I was only able to get prescribed antibiotics, and for a couple of weeks, the antibiotics worked and the red spot went away. I was feeling normal again. There was no pain. Then an entire month passes, and we're in December now. It's a few days before Christmas, and I'm doing a Fashion Nova try-on haul, which requires me to try on obviously a lot of clothes. There's a lot of pants being pulled up and just a lot of fabric rubbing up on that area in a short amount of time, and that kind of just aggravated the whole situation. So I look in the mirror during this try on haul, and now the spot is not only back, but there's a huge lump under my skin. Like, I could literally feel it. And so I lay down on the couch. Mind you, like, this is my butt, okay? So I can't really see it as well as somebody else could. Like, I'm really, like, you know, contorting myself to even be able to see what's going on back there. But I laid on the couch and took a picture, and it looked like a golf ball was trying to poke through my skin. So I immediately freak out. I call my mom and my sister. My sister ran over and took me to the emergency room. I'm like, I'm not playing with this. Like, what is this in my body right now? It hurts so bad. I'm screaming, I'm crying. And I go to the emergency room, and at first they tell me I might need to be there for a few days. At this point, I was dating this guy from Austin, and I had planned to fly out in like 2 days. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss my first Christmas with him. Like, this can't happen. I can't believe this is happening to me right now. But they wound up discharging me a few hours later because there was nothing that they could do, and they didn't want to touch another surgeon's work after I had told them what happened. And this was a result of plastic surgery. They wanted no parts of it. So I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? The office is closed yet again for Christmas, and the office isn't going to be open until days after New Year's. So what am I gonna do? So the hospital did some tests, prescribed me some meds, and sent me on my way. And I was still able to fly out to Austin on, I believe it was December 23rd. It was the day before New Year's Eve, not New Year's, Christmas Eve. So I fly out to Austin. At this point, the meds are working. The bump has gone down. The redness is down. And I think, okay, finally they gave me meds that worked. I'm gonna be fine. And then literally 24 hours later, I wake up on Christmas Eve and the entire area is not only red and swollen, but it's peeling. And I contact my doctor. Mind you, I had been in contact with my doctor since November. So he was the one checking up on me, making sure that there was progress with the antibiotics. Also, I think it's important to note that the communication with my doctor was A1. Like, he checked on me almost daily between November and December. So my issue with communication wasn't with my doctor, it was with the facility that he was working out of, because that is just a whole other can of worms. But the communication with him was really good. He checked in on me and was responsive when I texted him. I sent him pictures. He wanted me to come in ASAP to get a debridement because he knew exactly what it was. So it's Christmas Eve. Not only is the redness back and the swelling back, but my skin is peeling, which means the infection was trying to push through my skin. I contacted my doctor. He said that if I didn't go to the ER right away, that the infection would poke through my skin like cauliflower. That's how it would like open up. And I needed to get it drained ASAP. And unfortunately, because the plastic surgeon's office was closed for the holiday, I would have to go to the ER, which is exactly what I did. So I go to the emergency room in Austin. They took one look at it and was like, yep, we've got to, you know, drain you of this infection. And we think a loop drain would be best. So basically what a loop drain is, and I have a piece of string here to show you guys, is when 2 incisions are made and a string or a wire is fished through both of them. They go through one and then they come up through the other side. And then, so say this is my skin here, it's like my skin is underneath, it's like this. And then they tie it to secure it, but the whole point of having this in is so I could keep moving it around and let the fluids drain. So this loop drain was supposed to basically hold me over until the plastic surgeon's office opened the 1st or 2nd week of January. And this was just meant to have the fluids, you know, drain out and let the infection out, and then my surgeon would go in Miami and clean out the rest and do a full debridement. Unfortunately, I think it was like after a week of having the loop drain in, mind you, I followed everything that I was supposed to do. I cleaned the area as much as I was instructed to. I moved the loop drain back and forth, and I mean, it was so disgusting. I would show you photos, but I would literally get banned from YouTube. The smell that was coming from the area was absolutely disgusting. It was so incredibly painful. It burned in the shower. The solution I had to use to clean the area burned so bad. But not only that, I didn't know that this was happening until it was pretty much out of my body. But my body started to reject the loop drain. So say it was under the skin like this, my body pushed the loop drain out and created a giant hole in my left butt cheek. That was the most painful thing I have ever experienced in my life. The burn, I can't. So by the time I got to my doctor the 1st or 2nd week of January, the loop drain had completely just fallen out and there was a gaping hole in my left butt cheek. So the day the office opened back up in Miami, I flew out there. I paid for my own flight. I paid for my sister's flight. My sister was coming out there to help me. And I also paid for our hotel for 10 days because that's how long they said I would need to be there. So I get to Miami and the driver of the facility picks me up, and I kind of just nonchalantly ask him if other patients had experienced this same infection, and he said, yeah, a lot. And that's when I knew I was in a world of trouble. But I had no other options at this point because nobody wanted to touch me. Nobody could do the debridement except for him because everyone was afraid that if something went wrong, I would sue, and then, you know, I was just a huge liability. So I had no choice but to go back to the facility that essentially did this to me. So I met with my surgeon right away, and he let me know that it was a waterborne bacteria that I got during surgery. I mean, yeah. And that the only way we could fix this and the only way I would feel better ever again is if I go under the knife yet again. I would have to be put under general anesthesia, and the entire area would have to be cleaned out as thoroughly as humanly possible to make sure that not a single cell is left behind, because if any cells are left behind, it can grow back to what it was. And at this point, this bacteria had just eaten me alive from the inside out, so I was willing to take no risks, and I went through with the surgery. After the surgery, I had to be put on IV fluids every single day for hours. We're talking like 3 to 6 hours a day, depending on how fast the drip was. And by the end of the 10 days, my arm felt like chopped meat. It felt like my veins were about to collapse, and I don't have good veins to begin with, and I'm not good with needles. So you could imagine the torture that was for me, not only physically but mentally as well.
Editing Angela here, and ignore what's going on behind me, okay? I left out a major detail, which is that the second I left Miami, my doctor left the practice. So I think I was one of his last surgeries, if not the very last, and then he no longer worked there. So yeah.
But even at the end of the 10 days, my journey was far from over, because when I went home, I had to see a nurse every single day to pack the wound, to absorb any fluids that would come out and keep it as dry as possible. This was extremely painful, and it got to the point where they couldn't even come to my apartment anymore. I was no longer a dire emergency, so I had to learn how to pack it myself. So you can imagine how difficult that was for me. I had my mom pack it a couple of times, pretty sure I had my sister pack it as well, and it was just absolutely disgusting, painful, just a nightmare. I also had to see a wound specialist once a week to make sure that my wound was closing properly. Luckily, I made so much progress in such a short amount of time that I didn't have to see him for long. Okay, sorry if this looks a little bit different now, but my camera overheated, so I had to take a little bit of a break, but I needed a mental break from that story anyway, because I could feel myself getting worked up. Going back to the wound, so it was healing very well, very fast. My wound care specialist was very impressed, but he also said he wasn't surprised because he normally sees older patients. I was actually his youngest patient at, how old was I at the time? 30? I was 30 years old. I'm 31 now. And yeah, but unfortunately my body just kept on healing. It kind of just never stopped, and not in a good way, because it started to overcompensate and create too much collagen, which created a keloid. So instead of my scar just flattening out and stopping there, it kept on growing, and then I had a huge lump where there was once a dent. So I had to kind of just let that chill for a minute. I couldn't do anything. So I was stuck with this lump that you could see literally through my clothes, especially leggings. It was so embarrassing. I was dealing with this through my boxing training, and I could see the scar literally through my workout clothes. And then what month did I start seeing the dermatologist? Okay, yeah. So according to my surgeon, the one that not only did my BBL but also did my debridement, he said that I couldn't do any scar therapy for a full year. So I just had to let that keloid chill, let it do its thing, and then I could explore scar therapy options a year after my debridement. So this January, as soon as I hit that year mark, I went to see a dermatologist who began giving me steroid injections to flatten out the keloid. He said that my options were very limited because keloids are hard to remove, because we can go in and like scoop it out and flatten out the area, but my body could respond again the same way and just create another keloid, because that's just how my body responds to trauma. So that wasn't a risk I was willing to take. So we agreed that steroid injections would be best, and my body responded very well to the steroid injections, and the scar not only flattened out, but I started to get my color back, because at this point it started out very, very purple, and then it kind of just like faded into red and then into a pink, which is where it's kind of at right now. So it went through a lot of different color changes over this past almost 2 years, a lot of texture changes. It's now at the point where it is pretty flat, but I could definitely use some more injections. I'm gonna go back to my dermatologist and have him look at it again, because now there's just kind of like a little bit of a bump in the middle, which I think is still the keloid, but I wanna make sure it's not the infection growing back. And he also said that I would be a good candidate for laser scar removal, which in January, when I explored laser scar removal and saw somebody in the city, I actually saw one of the laser technicians at Skin Prologica, which is my favorite place to do any aesthetic work. She took one look at it and said, this is a keloid. We cannot go in with laser because we could upset the area yet again, and it could start forming an even worse keloid. So that's just, again, that just wasn't an option for me at the time. I am healing well. Physically, emotionally, this whole ordeal has taken a large toll on my mental health. I recently walked in swim week and literally had to beg the makeup artist to cover my scar. I did edit my scar out of all the pictures from swim week, as well as any pictures you see on Instagram. That is very much so edited just to, I literally use the patch tool to cover up that area because it looks like a dog bite. And I would include pictures, but of course YouTube, TikTok, every social media platform is so sensitive with that kind of stuff. So it's just really hard for me to show you like this big and it looks like a dog bite. It's like a circle that's a little bit raised and discolored, and you could tell the skin is new, and it literally just looks like a dog bite. Sometimes I lie and tell people that I got shot just to look cool, but yeah, no, that is from my surgery. And aside from it affecting, you know, my job, it has also affected my intimate wellness because it's literally on my butt. The first thing that they see, and it just makes me very, very insecure. And unfortunately, I've had to tell a lot of people what happened before I was even ready to, because of, you know, the situations I've been in. So yeah, it's been a rough journey for me, but yeah, now that that's finally off my chest, maybe I could stop editing that scar out of my pictures and I could just accept it for what it is, because at the end of the day, the scar for me represents my strength and my resilience and being able to carry on after such a traumatic event in my life. So I'm just done hiding. I'm just absolutely done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative for some of you and entertaining for others. I probably won't be talking about this again. I just don't have it in me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you guys so much, and thank you for watching.
So sorry guys, I had no idea my mic stopped working. So I'm just going to give you a summary of what I was saying. It's so sad that my mic actually wasn't working. So yeah, I'm not going to blame her. In fact, I admire her courage, you know, coming out to do this kind of video. It's not easy coming out to actually do a video like this. It takes a lot of courage, you know, strength and all. And I admire her strength also, you know, going through all of this. Like, I can tell that it must have been a really bad experience for her. So painful, you know. I can't even imagine how painful it must have been for her. And this is like a trauma, like something that she can never forget in her life. Like she would always keep remembering that, okay, this happened. So firstly, what I would say is that she should have just taken those meds at the beginning, you know, the pain relievers they wanted to give her. She was totally fine. You know, when you're doing stuffs like this, whatever they tell you to do, you just have to do it. You just have to do it, you know. So if she had taken those meds when they called her, when she was with her friend in Miami, like your life first, right? She was saying she couldn't leave her friend. Fine, we understand that you love your friend and love that, but you need to think about your own life too, because your life might be at risk, and her life was actually at risk, but she didn't know. So the hospital should have explained to her, like, this is really important, you have to come to the hospital. Probably they made a mistake and they were trying to correct something. They should have just been open to her and tell her the things that would have happened if she didn't come to the hospital at that moment when they called her. So I think that was a major mistake. You know, you're doing stuff like this, even if the doctor tell you don't sit down for 7 days, then you have to not sit for 7 days. Whatever they tell you, you just have to do it, because you know this is a surgery. It is a life and death situation. I'm grateful that she came out of this alive, because so many people do this and they die. I know someone that did this surgery in Lagos and she died. So you could die from this. This is a very serious thing. So many people do BBLs. So many people, so many celebrities in my country, they do this BBL thing. So you need to like make your research, make your findings, go to the best hospital. And the fact that, you know, the doctor, she was the last client of our doctor, so that is also something. The doctor stopped working there, you know, and the period where she was going through all these problems, challenges, was during the festive period, so that also added to it. It was during December, January, so it's just crazy. So the period where she actually needed a doctor to, you know, check her, he wasn't able to do that. But thank God, she said the doctor was really helpful, so he was just communicating. But regardless, she was in so much pain, which I cannot even imagine. What do you guys think about this video? Would you like to get BBL? Would you be getting BBL? Or if you already have your BBL, what do you think about this video? For me, I don't think BBL is an option for me. I don't just really, I'm not the BBL type, but I don't have anything against those doing BBL. It's their life, it's their choice. Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy videos like this, please give it a huge thumbs up. And if you're new here, join Vera City, hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. And that's, guys, thank you so much.